Hey, where is he?
Just
Macha,
dropped back to me.
I think we lost him. Let me call him, Macha. We lost him, Macha. Oh shoot, we are live.
Is he gonna try to log in again or what?
Yeah. Majang, we lost you. Just click on the link, Majang. We can connect you then after. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, click on the link, Majang. He said that he's going to connect Majang. Yeah. So tell me, Ashmacha, what have you been up to these days?
Oh, well, I think everyone is having quite a lot to contemplate after a 2 months lockdown. but yeah, I think this week has been quite interestingly. What do I say? I don't know. It's been fulfilling in terms of what needs to be done, and in being able to get out of the house once in a way is quite good, and to see some people on the roads are quite good. But how long it's gonna be like this way, I don't know. But I hope it will soon ease out for everyone.
I mean, for me, Majang, I'm located in Kandy, and yeah, it's a different kind of experience for me. Also, like for the last 15 years, I have been working in Colombo. Right, this is the okay. We have Madhushan. Give me a minute.
Sorry, I lost you guys.
Hi,
How's it going, guys?
hey, bro. Hi. How are you?
Hey,
What
how are
are
you?
you?
Not too bad. I think they've just eased off the lockdown a little bit over here. They've kind of said you can go out a little bit, exercise a little bit more longer. You can probably see about up to 6 people now, but making sure that you don't forget social distancing. Make sure you carry your masks and gloves and always have a hand sanitizer. Yeah, so things are getting a bit better. You could see a lot more movement in children's park, play areas and all that sorts. But yeah, we're just trying to still take it easy, one step at a time. We're just only walking around the garden, so to speak, not trying to go out and just forget what happened over the last 3 to 4 months. But how is it out there? I've read various news and mixed reviews as well on few platforms.
Well, here in Sri Lanka also, Macha, now since they have lifted curfew, people are now started moving out, going around, but still, like you said, Macha, so that fear is still with them.
Yeah.
And something very interesting that I noticed is even though how much media says, the government says, you have to be safe, be cautious.
That's it.
No one cares. Nobody cares. This is my
That's-
personal observation. I may be
Yeah.
wrong, but nobody gives a BS. So,
But I think that's the problem, right? There's always a handful of people in any part of the world who are probably going to say, forget it. It's it. That's our freedom. Now we've just got a chance to go out. Let's go just do something. I mean, perfect example would be look at the number of curfew violators that were arrested during the time, right? That's some crazy numbers there. So I think you're probably going to get that in any part of the world, Asita. Even here, there were few who didn't want to even worry about lockdown, so to speak, and they were still going out and about. But like I said, if someone's gone through something or had someone who's suffered from this, they would probably understand the impact much more better than maybe someone just reading about it. How's it going at your side, Ashik? How is it there?
Well, I think Asita was just speaking before you joined with regards to him being in Kandy and me stationed out from Colombo. I think those are the two major cities in the high risk zone, and we
Yeah,
were quite overwhelmed with a lot of curfews. I think we were the most number of curfew days given in terms of
correct.
the
Yeah,
state. So we were. I mean, now we are blessed to be out of a 2 months lockdown and a curfew period. I think, I mean, good to see some people around. But one good thing that we realized was how people was really coming out to help.
that's it.
Yeah.
Because in like when everything was shut down, everyone was in chaos. They were worried what is going to happen for them in terms of having the right provisions, whether
Correct.
they have the right food. I mean, to how they can even provide to their families. But sorry about that.
That's all right.
Uh,
No.
but but one thing that I realized was how many people around the world who came together. Where even the next door, next lane, we have these few neighbors who got together. They hired a van and they would go and bring vegetables door to door. And that's how I think this kind of a situation brought unity amongst people, bringing the positive side of things, and
Yeah,
also not allowing others to really go through it alone, but always there.
yeah.
Even in this lane where I live, we have 73 houses, okay? And I would know only about 3 or 4 houses, just for example. But suddenly, we all got together through social media, and we started a group where we would always announce, hey, the milkman is here, who needs milk. That shows that we have these good intentions and all these amazing skills that we can always be empowering others and
That's
inspiring
it.
others.
That's it.
But with the usual norm that we used to have before, we were too busy, either at work, we are on road, like caught up in traffic for more than hours and hours. We
Yeah.
hardly have time to come back home and live with our family and
Yeah,
enjoy place. But now we've been given a blessing in disguise. But again, I'm not saying anything. I know it's a very tough time we all are faced with. It is not a blessing, but it is something that we need to really think of, whether this
100%.
new norm that we are being kind of given, is it something that we have been always having and we've been missing, and should we really consider going forward having this new norm?
I mean, that's a very good point you touched there, though, because for me to sum up, I think what you probably said, I would probably say it's just learning the basics and getting back to basics, right? I mean, for example, you would have some, your sibling next door to you, but, about 15 years before, you would probably knock on the door and say, look, do you want to play something or whatever? But now,
Yeah.
thanks to all this WhatsApp and Viber and whatever of that sort, you just text them. You don't even have that face-to-face interaction, right? I mean, I read somewhere as well, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Harbhajan Singh had a picture posted saying he could see the top of Mount Everest from Jalandhar for the first time in 30 years. So many say deers or peacocks pictured in highways or middle of the street. So it just goes back to show, right? I mean, you got to learn or respect nature as well to a certain extent. And then no matter how much times have changed or things have changed, my personal opinion is you probably shouldn't forget your roots and where we came from. And it's just about doing those little basics. I mean, a call to someone and saying, hey, how are you doing, for 5 or 10 seconds may go a very long way. It might not mean a lot to anyone else.
Yes.
And that's what I think this period really explained and kind of taught a lot of people, in my opinion, saying how important it was to mingle around with people, being there for them, and to kind
Yeah.
of also make sure you don't go through it on your own, but to give them a helping hand and to make sure everyone's in it together and we come out of it together.
Yes. Exactly. So this is something that I really miss for the last 15 years. Uh, yeah, I mean, the time that I spend with my girls and,
Yeah,
it's the collaboration
that's it.
and the harmony and the love. So it's a surreal experience for me.
Yeah.
And
But it's funny, right, Asita? I mean, something like that, this had to happen to kind of bring us back into reality, or like to put life into perspective, right? I mean, it was always in front of us, but did people also take it for granted? Because there's this famous saying, right? You never realize how important something is or someone is till you lose them.
Yes,
So
absolutely. I
I
mean,
don't know. I think for me, like you guys correctly said, it was always in front of us, but we just got occupied and got busy with so many other things. But now it's just all taken a stop and a little pause, saying, look, there are other important things in this world than just running around like a headless chicken, so to speak.
Yeah, true enough. And imagine if we ever face this without the means of technology, without the means of even having that. Oh my God, I can't even, I can't even picture what we would have done.
We probably would have stuck to pigeons and send notes through them. Just like olden days, you probably say, house number 101, deliver this to Asita, saying the milkman's on his way or something. And by the time the pigeon reaches to Asita's, the milk's all over. But now that's a bit scary though. I mean, everything has its own pros and cons. Technology can be used right, and then it could have a lot of benefit, but it also could be misused by few and could also have consequences, just like anything else. I mean, anything in this world. So it's just about having that fine tune and balance. And I think massive hats off to like people who have those groups and SOS and all that. I mean, I think I saw a few things going around in Viber saying if you're in this area. They've also recently opened up a few more opportunities here called contact traces, which I think you get few analytics of few searches and to see where you were, if you've got it, which areas you've traveled. So a lot of people with technology have come together to kind of make things easy and help one another as well in this difficult moment.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but do you guys think this is the new norm then? Is this the way forward?
Well, yeah, sorry, Asi, you go ahead. Please go ahead.
Carry on, yeah.
Asita is occupied as well, so we'll ask from Asi and Ash both at the same time.
Well, I think this new norm, we always call it as, from a technology standpoint, it is not a new norm. It's just like what you rightfully said, in terms of it has been always there. It's just the lack of attention or the curiosity for us to really divulge ourselves and explore that this is possible or not. Now, for example, today e-commerce is at a wide strength, and a lot of new talent has brought up new ways of communicating, keeping others safe, even our neighborhoods safe. But wherever all these talents, wherever they're hidden, it always comes to a point where something has to drastically happen for these things to come out. But it shouldn't. We always should be ahead of things because it's always been there. But that's from a technology standpoint. But from a real life, in terms of living, yes, it is a very huge new norm. Like for us not being able to walk into supermarkets, and we have to be worried over our shoulders, who's going to sneeze, who's going to cough.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just really worried because, okay, I'll just share a very good example. During the first 2 weeks of the lockdown and curfew, I think, Asi, you remember, Sri Lanka opened during the first week, just one day, from 8 in the morning till 2, or rather 6 in the morning till 2 p.m. to go and get your daily essentials. Well, I went out with my brother-in-law. I quickly went into a supermarket and got my stuff, and then went into another essential outlet. And there, in that outlet, we were standing for more than 45 minutes, and there was an old lady right behind us. She just fainted due to the heat. And you wouldn't believe. Actually, my sister-in-law was also there. She went and held her. All the others wouldn't even want to hold her. Now, is this the new norm we should really live in? Are we really forgetting our ways of really taking care of people at times? That is kind of really alarming me personally. Although, yes, we are looking at each other, we are looking after each other, like I mentioned before. But there are instances when it comes to a health crisis, suddenly the alarm goes, oh my God, is this person really infected? Are you going to get infected? So our basic lives are really around.
It's a catch-22 though, isn't it, Ashik? Because how I kind of see it, like I said, once again, this is my perspective of seeing it though, is you're right, we shouldn't forget our basics and our humanitarian values and all that. But also we should take into account that proper precaution is taken till a medicine or something is found to kind of get rid of this once and for all. But what the problem we have at the moment is, like you said, that lady who fainted. I hope she's okay now. But imagine, for example, if she was a carrier, because you wouldn't even know you're carrying something like this from the little I've read up to about 12 to 14 days. And some people don't expose it even till later, they say. But imagine that person had it, and say someone tried helping her, in this instance your sister, and say she got it and she has a family to look after and they get it. That's the negative and the most
Yeah.
scary part of it to think of. However, if that person had gloves on and masks on, and made your sister had gloves and masks on,
Yeah.
I can't see why you can't still go and help a person like that. Even if someone got stabbed, you could. But I think you just have to take a step back, unlike before, to say, okay, hold on a second, is the proper precaution measured and done? Because, say for example, um, you know I personally think sometimes the media and the things that have been put on sometimes in different various countries, it's been blown out of proportion, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because yesterday there was a very interesting article I was reading saying people are talking about all this, but if you actually look at the number of deaths against the number of population in the world, going back to statistics again, saying it's just like 0.0005 of the whole world's population. Whereas if you probably look at few things such as HIV or cancer, or even let's speak about, say, anxiety, or people who even take their own lives away, so to speak, of depression and stuff, is much more higher. So I think the scarier part is, with whatever I mentioned previously, there is some sort of cure or cure in the making. But with this new thing, we're not too sure how to even handle it or tackle it, or even know that you've got it. Or, and even if you get it, how do you kind of get rid of it? So till something like that's found, I think it's going to be a bit tricky, Ashik. I think I completely agree with you. People are going to be a bit alarmed coming close to you, because the standard norm, if you met someone, is always, hey, how's it going? And you just put your hand out. Right now, your hands are in the pocket and you just kind of look at each other saying, what do we do? What's the new norm? Do we tap our feet, or do we just give a elbow bump or something? It's just very, very strange. I mean, when we went to supermarket, as always the same, like people just sometimes forget something like this happened and they get excited. They've seen grocery, they come close, and you're very, very in close proximity, and they're like, oh, oops, sorry, government said 2 meters, right? And they get back. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But if things do get fixed before that, I think people would just readjust to how things were, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely
Okay,
right,
what do
Monica.
you?
Yeah, sorry. So I also think like people have to adjust. So meaning like they have to take conscious decisions, because most of the people that I speak, and what they say is, hey, it'll be all right. Another 2 3 months or another 1 year, things will be fine. But it's not going to be fine. So they need to understand the reality, because what happened, we never know what's going to happen in another 1 year, right? These
Correct.
challenges will be there every time. Every time it will be there. It's just a matter of facing it, and how strong we are as people, how strong we are as a community, as a unity, and facing it together.
And how
I
to
mean,
overcome it as well, right?
yeah. So we can't go back to our old ways. There's no old ways. There's no going back.
You're right. I mean, I think it's about evolving with what's happening as well, because otherwise, I believe you're just going to be left behind and you become extinct, right? I mean, 5 years before, if someone said this is how you should be, people would have laughed, right? But now, 5 years from now on, we would tell the generation or whoever now saying, did you remember what happened 5 years before, right? So I think you're right. It's just about adapting and adjusting us to the new surroundings and new environment and the new lifestyle. Otherwise, crazy amount of facts and stats have been thrown around, right? Apparently, it said at one point, one person can give you to 16 people at one given
Yeah.
time. And that's quite funny, because you don't even know whether you're carrying it or not. So if one gives it to 16, imagine those 16 giving it to 16 times 16, right? Um, so that's the problem, because at this moment in time, we're not too sure how we can kind of overcome this. And if there was some sort of medication or cure, I think people would be a bit more comfortable and they can start getting into a bit more normal life, though. So I think that's my take on it, just to make sure you kind of still do what you have to do, but be very mindful of yourself and people around you, because you never know whether you have it or anyone in front of you has it. It's just about taking the right precaution.
You're right on point, Madhuran. In terms of, I think, even despite whether we are having it or not, I think this is the basics in life to for us to conduct ourselves in terms of a behavioral and discipline. Now, one interesting quote, I even shared it yesterday, that I came across was, let me read it out. It stated like, in the rush of to return to normal, um, use this time to consider which parts of normal that we really want in life, right? Because these lockdown days have really made us adjust to the limited amount of essentials, limited amount of time needed to travel, to do unwanted things, or even you may have wanted to do it, but now you realize that these were things that you could have. Hey, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have wanted to waste my time. Now, this is a good learning for ourselves as well. To returning into normalcy. I know it will be there for some time. We will always look over our shoulders. I don't know, for some even years to come. But what is that normal we really want to live our lives with? Being humble, staying humble, being empathetic towards one another, even to ourselves. Sometimes we forget that. We
Yes.
just throw ourselves out to everything that is there in the lives, where we spend almost 8 hours on our job. We spend almost 3 hours of time on roads, when there are ways that we can make adjustments and even new ways of getting that flexibility. And sometimes there are people who would, just soon after work, they would just spend additional hours back in office just to have a chit chat or just go out, forgetting that there are a few people at home. And now they really have seen and come across saying that, hey, this is the life that I've always dreamt of. For some, I would say. But
Yeah.
this is some reflection I had personally to myself. But I've been blessed in terms of how I've been able to work and manage it. But I'm still saying there were a few instances that I really wouldn't want to trade it for. And now that I've seen it, I regret that I've lost some time back then, which I could have made a change in life.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on though. It's just you kind of like, it starts make you realize as well what's necessity and what's not so important, so to speak. Like, you kind of can rebuild your list of priorities after this has happened, right? I mean, a funny quote, a saying is like, I just, make this a habit every 3 to 4 weeks. I just go and do my hair and beard, right? First month or two was very
Wait.
difficult, right?
I thought that was a COVID hairdo and a beard, man.
It is. So that's what I was just trying to tell you. So I was just saying, okay, the first month was very difficult, right? Then I was like, oh God, what do I do? How do we go about it? It just starts getting in your way. I mean, you probably try to eat something, you store a little bit of food for later on in the night if you want to pick it and all that, right? But then now it's been what, March, April, May. We're going into June, 4 months, and it's just you start to live and learn with it, right? I mean, I try not to go out as much, and even if I do, I mean, I just follow what Asi does, just whack a cap on and then try and just put a little bit of beard wax or whatever. But look, for me, if everything was normal, I would never be like this, right? But now it's just like a new space. I'm like, okay, this is how we look if you don't. And I don't know how long is it going to go on for. I mean, the latest they say is 5th of July, the hairdressers might open. But then again, I'm just thinking, is it a must? Do I need to go?
Come over to Sri Lanka. You have a lot of salons open now.
I saw that. People just having like little visors in front, a mask behind, and all that.
I got my hair done.
Yes, I was just going to comment on that later, because I think the reason why Asi is wearing a cap, because he's probably just like me. He's got the COVID. I looked at you. You look sharp, and you look, you've done it. Then I thought to myself, okay, is it really something I need to go out and do, or can I just get a trimmer myself? Do it. I mean, no one's going to worry too much about it with this COVID going on, right? So yeah, so those little things, sometimes you start thinking it's not a must, it's not a necessity. I mean, going out for coffee is just because you had nothing to do over the weekend. Instead, now what we started doing, a little bit of planting, a little bit of gardening, see if you can fix the house out over here, if you're walking, hire a bicycle if you have to. So yeah, it's just for me, I just feel like I'm back in the 90s again. This is what I used to do when I was growing up.
Yes, exactly.
So for me, I find it very, I mean, if you needed something, I mean, we're just trying to do a little barbecue outside, just like from scratch, right? So these are things, how I kind of grew up in, and I'm lucky to have this, and I'm happy to be back into that stage, so to speak. But it's also important to see that, so the world's advanced so much ever since we were in the 90s. And it's also important to kind of keeping pace with it, so you don't kind of get left behind. But what plans for the weekend then, guys?
So I have to work on my page. So I'm coming up with another lot of time invested on the page, but it's
He's
a
keeping
good.
himself busy, isn't he, Ashik? He's keeping himself occupied.
My goodness, I actually questioned him. How is he managing time? But it's a good thing. I think he's found his hidden allocation of time slots that he was not able
Yeah.
to utilize before.
That's it. And then you could see him like working on, all these contents. I mean, hats off to him as well, right? Trying to get
Yeah,
a group of people with the amount of followers and people he has as well to kind of get through knowledge. I mean, I know a lot of people are doing it out there, right? Different people have different sets of followers and all that, so to speak. But whatever we can try and do something to help the community. I mean, even if it means it's going to be on your one motivation page, or even say Ashik's, or someone's going to tweet it or reshare it. That's the amount of people you're getting to. And once again, thanks to technology, right? Anyone who even like spares a few minutes to have a look and say, look, this is it. So, I mean, I think it's nice to see, Asita, you just, taking the initiative and trying to do something and give back to the community. And I'm so happy that you kind of made myself and Ashik as well a part of this. So, yeah, I mean, much appreciated. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Logging in with a very short notice. Just I just wanted to. We connected, Ash. We connected like a few weeks back.
Okay.
And we were actually planning to do a session, talk about our life stories, and why we do what we do right now. So that was the whole intention of coming online and doing it. But it's just Ash is in Colombo, and I'm in Kandy, and you are in UK, and three friends meeting after such a long time.
Exactly.
And just having a casual chat.
That's it. I mean, that's the best thing, right? It just feels like you're still in a coffee shop, obviously, but you're not in close proximity, and which is going to be the same even if I was in Colombo or Kandy, because with social distancing. So I think the screen between you and I is about 2 meters. So I think I am following the precautions as well. So if Asita does sneeze or something, I'll make sure I don't. But no, I mean, like I said, just got to be very, very positive and highly spirited as well, because I know it's difficult. Some people might not be able to cope up with it, but just find little things to keep yourself occupied. Find things that you love doing, or you couldn't do it in the past because you had a very busy work life schedule. Just kind of stick to the basics, and I'm pretty sure we're just going to come out of it together, and we're going to come out of it much stronger. I'm very bullish about it.
Yeah, I think we will definitely. I think we've gone so much. I mean, we have gone through so much in life, as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a country, as a world. And I think we've together come out as one, and always come out of it.
That's
I think
it.
that definitely you're right on point, Madhushank, and I think that's a norm that we should believe in. And like what you said, we got a weekend coming ahead, guys. It's Friday night. We need to enjoy. I mean, I've come across a lot of friends who have been sharing some links where sometimes these some foreign DJs, they've been having live streaming for them to have their own house party with their families, jazz nights. All these are free. I think people should embrace it and just live their life, not just what these bullish media is talking about in terms of all this, what's happening around the world. Yes, it is happening. We are well aware of it. Let's forget about the number of counts of COVID patients. Let's try to pray for them. Let's try to change the way we look at things. No one is really seeing the people who are coming out of it. It's always the negative side of things.
And then for the there's always light at the end of the tunnel as well, right? That's it. I think Ashik was spot on with that. So much has happened, and I think very good point you touched as well, because if someone's always kind of into media and reading and stuff, I'm not saying that it's bad, but all I'm saying is always weigh both things as well. I mean, they seem to say number of cases have gone up, correct, but also have a look at the number of recoveries as well, and the number of deaths that have taken place as well. So, you just always need to kind of weigh in and, see, I mean, the pros and cons together to kind of come into your own conclusion. But saying all that, like I said, look, every day seems like a weekend now. So only, it's Saturday tomorrow. Yes, it is, but it
Well,
just seems
except for Asi, he's every day is a weekday for him.
exactly. Yeah. So he'll probably make Saturday and Sunday his new Monday too, and Tuesday too. But now, I mean, like I said, I just genuinely hope this does help some of the people who are looking into it or reading into it. And like I said, if there's any way that we can help or assist, like I said, none of us are here experts, right? We're just sharing our opinions and what we've gone through. And if anyone else has gone through and he knows how to do things a bit better or handle it better, feel free. I mean, we're all ears, right? That's it. You just learn from one another, help one another, and let's just get through these difficult times and come back stronger.
Thank you so much, Maju. Ash, as as long as I wanted to continue this chat, but the time is restricting me. I have to attend to my little princess's work.
Yes, I was just going to say that's it. We can't be contradicting ourselves, saying and be here for 1 hour and forget about it. Enjoy the time with the little one as well.
30 minutes, 31 minutes for now.
Exactly. So enjoy the time with the little one. I think people are going to probably be also like, look, it's beyond 30. They might have TV programs to attend to.
Hey, and TGIF, they need to go on their house parties.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And I've got to go and crack on with something as well. But listen, Asida, thank you so much for kind of bringing me on board as well. Ashik, it was nice to talk to you again. Brilliant.
You too. Thanks, Ashik.
Talk to you soon then. All right. Take care of yourself, guys.
All the way, guys.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm taking a call to Madhu. He's there.
Yes.
Good stuff, boys. Good stuff.
How did you go?
Really good. We had about 19 viewers at a point.
Okay.
Constantly, but after 20th minute, we lost the crowd. Say only one person actually watched it, but that's perfectly all right. Yeah. And we had a couple of what do you call comments as well. What are you, lost to Ash?
I think you're still on live, right?
I can hear Ashik.
Oh shoot!